Hi guys, sorry I had to split this video into two parts, but I'd like to pick up where we left off. In the last video we left off talking about how industrialization had a lot of impacts. In this case we're talking about pollution and the impact that that had even on our environment today. But for this last little bit of video, I want to just look at the different parts of the country. Remember, when we talk about U.S. history all this year, we've talked about how the country is divided into three specific regions: the North, the South, and the West. And that really is the way the country is divided from the time of the Revolution really until the mid-1900s. So that is one of the leading factors that leads us to the Civil War example, these sectional differences. But let's go ahead just quickly look at the three different regions of the United States and how industrialization impacts them. And we'll be wrapping up this focus area. So when we think about industrialization, the North is really the main region that's impacted. We'll see that the South and the West do have some connections to industry, but it's really the North that's the hub or the center of industrialization. One part of that is cities are growing and growing in the North. When we think about northern cities, I think of places like New York or Boston or Chicago, especially places like New York where immigrants are arriving to Ellis Island. They're bringing their diverse cultures with them. They're starting to help those cities grow in population, and they're taking those factory jobs. And we know from our Civil War focus area that the North had a couple advantages during the war. In industrialization and really good transportation systems were a key for the North to help them win. So if you can have a factory in a northern city and then transport those goods really quickly on a railroad or down a canal, you can get goods to your troops when it's wartime. And then when it's peacetime, you can move goods to people from all over the region and make money off selling them those goods. We know communication was important as well. The North had an extensive telegraph system, and that of course would help Abraham Lincoln stay in contact with his generals during the Civil War itself. So when we think about the North, we think about factories, we think about really good transportation system, especially railroads, good communication with the telegraph, the telephone eventually, and just big cities that are going to grow in diversity, meaning people from around the world are going to make up those cities. All right, next I want to talk about industrialization in the South. Remember that key piece of industrialization in the South was the cotton gin. And this was one of those really early pieces of industrialization. The cotton gin is not a very complex machine, but it revolutionized the South because it made cotton so much easier to produce, which then increased the demand for slaves, which we know really was a contribution to the start of the Civil War. When we look at the South in general, cities were a lot smaller. People mostly live on farms in the South, whether it's small farms or big plantations. In general, they don't live together too much in cities. There were some factory cities like New Orleans and Atlanta, but not to the level of places like New York or Boston. Another problem that the South had was they lose the Civil War. Industry was a disadvantage for the South, and once the war is over, they're going to be even further behind the North, because what factories and cities they did have, they now have to rebuild because they had been destroyed. And finally, industrialization in the West. When I think about industrialization in the West especially, I think about the Transcontinental Railroad. And you can see sort of the number of people that were involved in this over here in this photograph. So while farming was really important in the West, ranching specifically, so herding cows, cattle, sheep, maybe some basic growing of crops, The West is really impacted by industrialization with the railroads, which are helping to connect the West to the rest of the country. And as cities grow, and in the North and in the South, that growing population needs a place to go. So people will take the railroads, or possibly like wagon trains, out west so that they can start a new life. All right, sorry, I moved ahead there for a second. And finally, if we're we could zoom out and look at industrialization as a big picture. So like, where does industrialization start? And then really, where does it end? So a couple things here for us to know. The U.S. really began industrializing after the War of 1812 because of that Monroe Doctrine. So if you remember the Monroe Doctrine, the attitude was to keep America isolated from the rest of the world. We didn't want Europe in our affairs, and we didn't really want to have to rely on them. So the Monroe Doctrine really encourages Americans to start factories and start inventing, and Americans to rely on themselves. That will eventually lead to an advantage for the North during the Civil War, which will really lead to the South being so far behind the rest of the country after the war. By the time we get to 1900, America is sometimes referred to as a melting pot, or other times a salad bowl. In general, just a mix of different cultures and ideas, different talents of people, immigrants bringing what they know and their sort of unique perspectives to our country, and really making America the mix of cultures it is today. With industrialization also came a huge emphasis on capitalism. This idea that capitalism is the best kind of economy because the businesses just sort of run themselves. And that will really connect with America as the world wars happen. And as Russia becomes a communist country, America will really create an identity as the opposite of that. We're a country that's built on capitalism, and our arch enemy is Russia, the communist country. So we will see that sort of impact people's perspectives.